Thank you very much for the information to talk to you here in this colloquium on the 16th colloquium Asphalt, Bitumen and of Pavements. Thank you very much, Slovenko, for the kind invitation. And he asked me to talk a little bit about our work in Austria in respect to pavement design, mechanistic pavement design and implementation of life cycle cost analysis in this respect. So a short outline of my presentation is I will give you a motivation, then I will talk about the performance requirements. We heard a lot of requirements in respect of bitumen. I will more refer to asphalt, performance requirements on asphalt, and there are a lot of requirements and test methods already available on the European level. The next topic will be how we implemented these performance requirements in our mechanistic pavement design method and how we perform life cycle cost analysis. Of course, I can only refer to the most basics. And here I will give also an example, and this is a close connection to the presentation of Markus Spiegel this morning. And finally, I will come to my conclusions. So, what was the motivation for the revision of our pavement design method? The first thing is that we are using still this equivalent factors for to calculate the traffic load. So this design traffic load was our feeling really has to be completely revised, and so we implemented modern methods to also take into account the motion measurements. So we have a lot of information, especially in the highway system in respect to axle and crossweight of heavy cross vehicles, of trucks. This was the one motivation. The other motivation was, I already mentioned that we have now a lot of performance requirements also on European level, a lot of complex, we heard this word this morning, complex or more complex test methods. And so we wanted to implement the results of these test methods, the parameters we receive from these test methods in our design method, because for the standard design pavement design catalog, usually we can only apply very simple models, especially in respect to asphalt. So there are a lot of rather conservative assumptions, and this of course sometimes leads to not the best technical and also economic result in the design calculations. The third thing is also now if we can more accurately calculate design life and predict design life. Of course, we have also to compare different types of calculations of design results. And here, of course, we have to look at the whole life cycle of a pavement. And so we also include the whole perspective of the life cycle into our analysis. Performance requirements. Let's talk a little bit about the performance requirements that are already, as I mentioned, on the European level, and that we already included in our standards. So the first step was, of course, that we have to include it in the standards for our asphalts, and here I think we have a leading role even in Europe. We have already implemented what we call fundamental approach in 2013, and here we can request for the mechanistic parameters of asphalt concrete. But we have both approaches, the empirical approach and the fundamental approach. So what is the difference? A short introduction in that. So usually, for example, in a tender, the road agency can either use the empirical or the fundamental or performance-based approach. So, for example, if you specify an base layer, an asphalt concrete base layer, a grain size, maximum grain size 32 millimeters. You have, according to the European standard, AC32 base, so this is the AC type. Then, of course, you have the binder type, and this is a typical empirical approach. And then in Austria, we have some requirements in respect to the volumetric composition of this asphalt concrete. So in respect to the grading curve, minimum binder content, maximum air weight content, and so on. So it's completely volumetric requirements, the empirical approach. And then we have also some requirements in respect to the aggregates. So this is taken into account by this T2 and by the G4 number. So what's the difference if we now specify asphalt according to this performance-based approach? Here we have again the asphalt concrete type. Then we have this performance-based class, in this example E1. I will come to this E1, what it means a little bit later in the next slide. And then we have again the requirements in respect to the aggregates. You see here is no requirement in respect to the binder, because it's more or less up to the company to fulfill the performance requirements. And what are these performance parameters? We have, according to European standard, three most important performance requirements to asphalt concrete. The one is the low temperature cracking. We heard about that. It's the TSRST test. Here it's a cooling test where we have as a main parameter, and it's marked here in red. The main parameter where we have some requirements is this T-crack. So the low temperature performance is addressed by this T-crack. Then in the medium temperature range, here we have stiffness and fatigue of asphalt concrete, the most dominant performance parameter. So the one is, of course, stiffness. We need this stiffness as an input in the pavement design process, and we have a rather complex material. Asphalt concrete is a highly interesting material, you know, viscoelastic. So we have different moduli, we call it complex moduli, in respect to the frequency of loading and also in respect to the temperature. But from this 4-point bending beam test we use, if we apply it as a long-term test, we can address another parameter. It's this epsilon 6, and this is the fatigue parameter. So we assess from the 4-point bending beam test both the stiffness, independence of the frequency of the loading, and the temperature. And in the long-term run of this test, we have here also the parameter epsilon 6, which is the fatigue parameter according to the European standards. And for the high temperature range, here we address the rutting performance of the asphalt concrete by a creep curve. So we do a triaxial cyclic loading test. And here we can, from this test, we can retrieve the creep parameter FC. So if we have a very low creep parameter, we have a highly resistance of this asphalt concrete in respect to rutting. So coming back to these specifications of an asphalt concrete used for base layers, you see we have 4 categories in our standard, in our Austrian standard, E1 to E4, and we address and we require both for rutting, fatigue, low temperature cracking, minimum parameters in respect to this, to rutting, is this creep parameter, in respect to fatigue, which is most important, of course, for base layer courses and for asphalts in base layer courses. So fatigue is the dominant performance parameter. Here we have this epsilon 6, and then we have the low temperature cracking and stiffness. So E1 means that we require a minimum creep parameter in respect to rutting resistance, a minimum fatigue parameter, and so on, according to this classification system. So the next aim and the next task we had, now since we have implemented now this in requirements to the asphalt concrete on the test site and then the construction site, the next task was to implement it in our Austrian pavement design methods. And this job is almost done. So the first volume will be issued in the beginning of next year. This is just the headline of this pavement design standard, Austrian pavement standard. It's an RVS and R4S, an Austrian standard. And here we implemented all the things I already mentioned. So we have on the one side a modern, how we can address the weight and the loading of the pavement. Then also we heard a lot of the rheological characteristics of bitumen. So here also we can implement or address the stiffness and calculate the stiffness of the asphalt concrete on the basis of the rheological characteristic of the bitumen done with the DSR test, because DSR test is commonly used in many laboratories in Austria. And we implemented these performance parameters. And because this design method is very theoretical and very complex, also a software tool was developed and will be also issued together with the standard. So as a user you can just take this software and very easily do these design calculations. Just a few words to the different enhancements we implemented in this design method. I already talked about the improved traffic loading assumptions. So, for example, there are different design stages, we call it. Either you have just the distribution of the heavy vehicle fleet, you need the frequency distribution of each vehicle type, and then we have in the background a database with the different gross weights and axle weights, and this is then implemented in the numerical pavement model. Or if you have weigh motion measurement data, then you can directly use this data from the measurement side. Then rheological parameter of the bitumen. Bitumen is of course very important in respect to the stiffness of and stiffness performance, but also fatigue performance of the asphalt concrete. So here you can, with the DSR, we have a very easy procedure implemented to calculate the master curve from a few measurements on different frequencies and temperatures with the DSR. and so it's automatically calculated the master curve. From the master curve, you can, for each temperature, calculate the G star. So this is the rheological, the stiffness parameter of the bitumen. And this is actually a very complex formula, but it's easy to apply. So you can calculate now from the complex shear module of the bitumen, which easily can be addressed by the DSR measurement. You can calculate, use this G star and the volumetric parameters of the asphalt, which you have from the type testing. And with these two parameters, actually, and this formula, we call it the Wiener Modell because it was developed within a research project. Here, you can easily calculate the stiffness of the asphalt in dependence of the temperature, but also for different frequencies. So we have the stiffness. We need another parameter for the design calculations. You know, most important parameter beside the stiffness is the fatigue performance of asphalt. Here, as I already mentioned, we are using the 4-point bending beam test, and this slide, this picture was already shown by Markus Spiegel this morning. You see that we have for the same type of asphalt, but with different bitumen types and different modifications of the bitumen, you can have completely different fatigue performance of the asphalt concrete. So this is taken into account the first time, and we are using the parameter epsilon 6, which is the test result from the EN 4-point bending beam test. So, this is not so, here the formula is not so nice on my screen, but I think you see it complete. This is a typical formula to address and to calculate the allowable load repetitions in the design calculation. Actually, it's commonly used. We just implemented this epsilon 6 and some additional factors. I will explain it to you. First, usually we have the stiffness of the asphalt and of the layer. We can address this by the EC master curve. Then you have to declare within this class, within this fatigue class for the base layer, for example, you have to declare the resistance against fatigue with this epsilon 6 parameter. So we have it from the declaration, from the EN declaration of the asphalt concrete. Then from the pavement model, we calculate the stresses and strains, so the primary response when a load is going over the pavement section, and then we have fatigue curve parameters which can be addressed by the fatigue test, from the fatigue test. And this is how we can now calculate the pavement design light very accurately and specifically based on these performance parameters. So I will give you in more detail, to make it not so abstract, I give you an example, and I will calculate an example together with you. For example, you have the design job. This is a typical construction. 23 centimeters is the asphalt pavement consisting of a surface layer, a binder layer, and a base layer. And we can now distinguish, we can just design it according to the design catalog. Here we have to use this very basic model asphalt, representing a standard asphalt for all the different types of layers. Then another type would be if we construct the asphalt layers, the surface layer, the binder, and the base layer, with a typical bitumen in Austria penetration grade 70-100. And typically for this asphalt concrete, we have a fatigue parameter of epsilon 6 is 130 micrometer per meter. And another type would be the same construction that we now add for the same asphalt polymer modified bitumen in the surface layer. This would be type 2. Type 3 would, if we use the polymer modified binder in the surface and binder layer. In the fourth type, same construction, all the layer types are modified with this BMP 458065. With this new pavement design method, we can now address all these different types. And you see there's a significant difference in the calculated lifetime. You see if we if we use the design catalog, we have usually 10 million allowable load repetitions. If we have a non-modified binder, the 70-100, it's very close, of course, to this model asphalt. If we just add polymer modified bitumen to the surface layer, the increase of the lifetime and of the allowable load repetitions is not significant. And also, if you use the PMP in the surface and binder course in respect to the lifetime, not in respect to the life cycle cost, you will see that also the change is not so significant. You have a little bit of a gain in the allowable load repetitions because of the modification in the surface and binder course. But because of the much better fatigue performance of the BMP modified base layer, if you use a fully modified asphalt course, then you see you have a significant increase of the allowable loads. That means that we have a longer lifetime for BMP modified base courses, and we can now, with this design method, really and easily address that. What means that in respect to the life cycle? Here we have actually implemented a standard life cycle analysis. So we have initial costs for the road agency, so we just consider costs for road agencies. And then we have, for example, 2 rehabilitation intervals and a reconstruction, and then we have a residual value. And we can compare the different types of pavements with modification, non-modification, or partially modification. We can compare it by calculating the net present value over the analysis period. And we did that. And you see here the result. If we consider the standard pavement with a surface and binder and base course with a simple bitumen 70-100, this is the reference. And please look at the red figures. So the initial construction cost, for example, if you have a fully modified asphalt construction, that would be number 4 in the lowest line, and you see that we calculate just for the pavement, for the construction, and this is based on real costs from a costs database. And in respect to the standard bitumen, you have a higher costs of 5.4% in respect to the standard bitumen. So actually, if you offer as a company an alternative with a fully modified asphalt pavement, actually you would be 5.4%, the cost would be 5.4% higher so you will never be successful in this tender. But if we look at the agency costs for the whole lifetime, because of the high reduction of the high gain of the life cycle cost, you see that actually the cost reduction is significant for the agency. So actually we have to take into account, we have here 95.4% lower life cycle costs in respect to the standard pavement construction with the 70/100 asphalt concrete. So you see a huge gain, and actually this has to be taken into account also if you judge a tender or different tenders. And this is now possible with the design method and also with a life cycle cost analysis. So the conclusions, coming to my conclusions. First, we developed, and I gave you a short introduction in this new mechanistic design method we developed in Austria. It is implemented in a simple tool for the user. We, for the first time, take into account also performance-based requirements for asphalt concretes, and also introduced a life cycle cost analysis tool to assess and compare different design results in respect to their costs over the lifetime. And I'm quite sure that this is a significant step to stimulate innovation in asphalt concretes, for asphalt concretes, and also it will also be a significant step to more economic asphalt pavements. Thank you very much for your attention.